Hello, whisperers. Welcome to the channel. If you enjoy tonight's tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It helps more than you know. Now, dim the lights, and let's begin tonight's story. Winter was supposed to be quiet. That's what they said when I took the Ridgepoint post. Easiest duty on the roster. Snow keeps the hikers out. Cold keeps the drunks home. Fire season's over. A few radio calls. Maybe log a coyote crossing the tree line. Then sleep with your boots on. But quiet up here doesn't feel safe. It feels surgical. The kind of quiet that presses cotton into your ears and waits for you to scream. Every creak of the tower sounds like it's cracking in half. Every hiss of wind slithers through the wood like it's whispering. I kept the lantern low. My logbook was already filling with things I didn't understand. 2204, shadow across ridge. No cloud cover. 2311, static on channel 3. Distorted voice, maybe dispatch, maybe something else. Do not leave tower. Written exactly like that, as if I'd already been told. I don't remember writing it down, but the pen marks were pressed so deep I tore the page. The tower smelled wrong tonight, too. Old wood soaked in iron, like when you've cut yourself and can't wash the blood off your hands. I'd scrubbed the railings with bleach at sundown, but the smell only got sharper. At 2:11, orange lit up the southern ridge. Not lightning, not a cabin stove, a bloom of fire too small for a controlled burn. Too big for a campfire. It held steady, like someone feeding it. I swung the scope around. My breath fogged the glass, and for a moment it looked like something was standing there, long-limbed, pale, swaying in the smoke like it weighed nothing at all. My stomach dropped hard. When I blinked, the ridge was empty. Just smoke, drifting on the wind. I went for the radio. This is Ridge Point. I've got a signal fire, South Ridge. Coordinates. The static snarled, then faint, layered under the crackle. Already saw it. Not my dispatcher's voice, not anyone's voice I knew, but it was close. Too close, like it came from inside the tower. I dropped the mic. The sound underneath it grew louder. Boots in snow. Crunch, drag, crunch. Not rushing, not lost, just circling. I turned off the lantern and stood in the dark with my teeth chattering. Whoever was down there never called up, never touched the ladder. They just walked circles around the base, once, twice. I counted the turns by the way the boards beneath me thrummed. I didn't sleep, couldn't. The sound faded eventually, but the silence that followed was worse. At dawn, I forced myself down the ladder. The air cut my throat open like glass. Every breath sharp enough to hurt. I shoved the drift aside with my boot and froze. Tracks, bare feet, long as a man's forearm, toes split wide like they'd frozen and broken. They circled the tower in a perfect loop, then stopped, not trailed off, not wandered away, just stopped, like whoever left them was lifted straight out of the snow. And in my logbook, where I'd left the page open, There was a new line scratched in under last night's entry. My handwriting, but I don't remember writing it. 403. Footsteps returned. Circled the tower twice. It's patient. The fire on the ridge had burned itself to ash by morning, leaving only a black crater punched into the snow. Against better judgment, I hiked out to see it for myself. Part of it was duty. I had to log it, photograph it. But part of it was the nagging thought that maybe I'd find boot prints, or a lighter, or something that proved it had just been another idiot camper, something human. Instead, I found bones, animal bones, maybe deer, maybe elk, stripped clean but cracked straight down the middle, marrow sucked dry. Some still bled. A scrap of parka snagged on a root, stiff with frost. Whatever had fed here didn't eat like an animal. It ate like it was starving. The air felt heavier than it should have, like walking into a cave. My ears popped, though there was no change in elevation. I caught myself whispering under my breath, nonsense words, the way you do when you're alone and don't want to be. On the hike back, I heard it. My name, carried soft through the trees, my exact voice. Ethan, the sound of me, calling me, maybe 50 feet off trail. The tone was off, hesitant, like a recording played back on warped tape. Then another voice, deeper, but still mine, whispering the same word with a wet hitch of breath. I ran the last half-mile to the tower, climbed until my lungs burned, shut the hatch and sat on the boards shaking. Night fell quick. The forest shrank down to a black mass under the tower. The wind shifted, carrying the stink of rot with it, sweet, cloying, like spoiled meat thawing on a windowsill. Every so often, I thought I could hear nails dragging on metal. At 2 o'clock, the ladder groaned. I froze, lamp off, breath shallow. A hand appeared over the edge of the deck, skin gray-white and split like it had been dried, then stretched too thin. Long fingers hooked the rung, joints bent backward as if they'd snapped long ago and never healed. Then another hand. The thing climbed slow, jerking upward in bursts, arms pulling too much weight for a frame that looked skeletal. The wood rungs creaked like they'd break, but it never slipped. Its head tilted as it climbed, as if listening. I shoved the hatch shut, braced it with my boots, heart hammering in my throat. The scratching started immediately. A light, rhythmic scrape, nails across the grain, as though it was writing letters into the wood. Then, tap, 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 deliberate, patient. I pressed my ear to the planks and almost vomited. On the other side, I heard my own voice, muffled, speaking into the grain. Let me in, please. Over and over. Toneless. The radio spat, static. Then cleared. Do not leave the tower. Do not follow the voice. The same words I'd found written in my log, but this time dripping with distortion, warping into a shriek before cutting off. For an hour, maybe longer, the thing circled, climbing partway up, scraping, then dropping back into the snow. Once, it threw itself against the tower, hard enough to rattle the lantern from its hook. but it never forced its way inside. It was testing me. I cracked the hatch once when the scratching stopped. Just a finger width. My lamp caught it crouched against the railing. Skin stretched so thin across its skull I could see the hinge of its jaw, eyes reflecting the light like broken glass. It smiled, not with lips, those were gone. Just a gash of teeth, too many, clattering together in the cold. I slammed the hatch shut and shoved the cot against it. Then I sat on the floor, staring at the logbook. New ink bled into the page even as I watched, curling letters forming neat as my own hand. It's coming for you. The generator died just after midnight. No warning. 1 second the tower hummed with its low mechanical breath. The next it was silence. Then the lights went black, lanterns dead, radio hissing like a punctured lung. The forest swallowed everything. I lit a match. My hand shook so bad the flame bent sideways. The boards beneath me groaned as though something pressed its weight into them from below. Then came the laugh. Not human, not animal. A clicking, rattling thing, like teeth chattering inside a dry skull. It started below the tower, moved around the supports, and then climbed upward, circling. Tap, scrape, tap. Metal groaned, nails dug into wood. I sat with my back against the hatch, boots braced, clutching the flare gun like it was holy scripture. My logbook lay open beside me. New ink bled across the page in jagged script. Hungry. Hours bled out like veins into snow. The scratching stopped. Then footsteps circled again, deliberate, almost lazy. It was toying with me, keeping me awake, waiting for me to make a mistake. At dawn, the cold was unbearable. The air stung with each inhale. I couldn't put it off anymore. I had to check the fuel. My fingers trembled as I pried the hatch open and stepped into that frozen air. The snow was quiet. No wind, no birds, just white stretching forever. I'd gone 3 steps toward the generator when I saw it, crouched in the snow, waiting. Its body was rail-thin, limbs jointed wrong, ribs pushing through gray skin like frozen knives. Its head twitched as it looked at me, mouth yawning wider and wider until the jaw cracked. The sound was wet and sharp. I bolted for the ladder. My boots barely touched the rungs before it was moving, faster than anything should move, skittering on all fours, jerking, climbing the outside supports. I slammed into the tower, heart thrashing, hands fumbling for the flare gun. Above me, the roof shook as it scuttled over it, claws clicking across the boards. A shadow passed the lantern's dim glow, stretched too long, broken in places. The hatch exploded inward as it forced an arm through, gray fingers groping, nails splitting wood. I fired. The flare screamed red, filling the tower with violent light. It shrieked, not in pain, in rage. The sound pierced through bone, vibrating teeth in my skull. It dropped back into the snow, smoke curling from its skin, and vanished into the tree line. I collapsed against the cot, clutching the flare gun with numb hands. Dawn bled pale light over the snow, but I didn't feel safe. The silence pressed harder than ever. Then the radio cleared. Through the static, a voice crawled out, low, distorted, almost mechanical. You're not alone out there. Hold your post. The words repeated, glitching, bending like they were being forced through broken speakers. Hold your post. Hold your post. Hold. And then silence. I sat frozen, waiting for the transmission to return, praying it would. But the snow outside stirred, and I realized the words hadn't been meant as comfort. They'd been orders, and whatever was listening in the woods had heard them too.